Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dungeon Not Included. Today, we are not actually going to stream the game because we have a sick player. But Mark has joined us again to chat a little bit for tonight, and we'll probably cut it short, but we'll give you at least some content.
Yeah, precious content.
Sweet, delicious content. Yes. I've been hungry for it all week. Missed you. Sometimes I get to catch the movie night. That's kind of cool.
Nice.
I don't get to pop in and talk because I'm trying to save my resources a lot too. While I'm watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I really appreciate the mix of like gaming and movie content and like entertainment, you know what I mean? It's like all the things I like.
all the geek stuff you could possibly swallow. We even had 2 threads for the Super Bowl, one pro and one con.
Pro Super Bowl and con Super Bowl.
Yeah, basically people who were talking about the game and the commercials, and other people were like, well, puppy ball is adorable and I refuse. And all right, fine.
How about that halftime show though?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was the geriatric rappers. It was great. It was everybody I knew.
It was so throwback. I love it. Right. They were like, oh, it's the 90s all over again, or 2000s.
I felt relevant again for a brief moment. That's all you can really ask for a halftime show.
I felt pandered, but it was cool.
Yeah. And my friend was like, Mary J. Blige became Super Saiyan. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm okay with that. But yeah, it was a great show. So I did enjoy. I really enjoyed playing last week with you, Mark. Getting a little bit of a window into a Poly and seeing what Poly can do. It was a lot of fun. Things worked out really well for me, and I'm excited about it.
Well, I'm eager to get into the larceny that Punk Bunny and Mongoose are about to perpetrate.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we got to keep it crimey.
we left a nice hook there that they see something juicy and valuable. We don't know what it is exactly. We're going to figure that out, but that there's definitely a shell on premises as well as security to prevent her from just going in there and getting it. But it's something valuable that's like worth money in the game sense. It's going to boop, 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 make the suitcase more full before you leave.
Yeah. And stealing from COP is always fun. So,
yeah, my idea is that COP probably has access to some like leftover police drone or something.
Okay,
and,
nice.
That's the high tower shell that we're gonna bring in. It's basically like a remote controlled, machine that's gonna mess you up.
Love it.
Awesome. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I don't want them to be on patrol, right? I want them to be like randomly doing something that's outside the schedule. So it's like something that you wouldn't have predicted, but you still have a chance to do something.
Yeah.
Right? Because you'll hear it coming, stuff like that.
It's
not like it's going to be quiet.
They could definitely be going back to base for a hookup because, as I recall, those movies they were very randy. It was teenage sex romp, but with rookie cops. So yeah, somebody's trying to make out with somebody.
As I remember, the grandma was very attracted to the like Mahoney guy or something, and also the other cops. She kept hitting on him while she was getting her gun loaded up.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, well, that might not make it into our game. But I'm thinking about that in the back of my head as a threatened consequence that your show takes a hit to a viewer count. No, I'm just mad.
Yes. So
No,
I'm
but it
curious.
has been nice having you on. So
Yeah, definitely, it has been. I'm curious,
Oh, it's been
Brendan,
my
how
pleasure.
did you stumble upon Runners in the Dark?
Runners in the Shadows.
Runners in the Shadows. I did it because I mentioned your name. Somehow, whenever Brendan comes up, it's Runners in the Dark.
That's funny. Yes.
It came up because I mentioned somewhere online in some forum I was in, like Discord or something, that I liked Shadowrun, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, somebody has made a Blades in the Dark hack of it," and so I had to check it out. So that's how I came across it.
Nice enough.
So because I was hanging out with a whole bunch of indie nerds, so.
I was gonna say there has to be an indie link there because
Yes.
Blades is not like the most famous game. It's one of the most famous indie games, but
Yeah.
Only because of recent late. It's not like it's really seeped into the consciousness that broadly.
Right.
And it's only people on the kind of edge that are in, the cutting edge of role-playing games that would really be like already aware of Blades, and willing to try something outside of Shadowrun.
Right. Yeah.
Huh?
Right. Yeah, like a lot of in-game designers. So yeah.
Such as? Can you name them or no? Or do you name the game at least? I want juicy content too.
You want juicy content too. I'm friends with Jason Morningstar and some other folks right now. The person who mentioned that to me, I'm trying to remember who it was.
Oh yeah, that might be nice to know if you can remember it. You don't have to tell me now, but
yeah, I don't recall now. But
yeah, that's cool. But yeah,
be
so
bonus
you got it
content
there
for the Patreon. We'll remember, it's a 5-second video of Brendan going, "It was Mark."
It was Mark.
So this leads directly to Mark. What made you want to adapt Shadowrun-ish, to Blades in the Dark?
Well, so it actually began, I think, was my childhood. I played first edition Shadowrun.
Oh, wow.
And I also, I loved that. Second edition was actually the one that my friends would play with me, but I played first alone for a while. Like in my head, like I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Yes. And then I was like, oh, second edition just came out. I'm buying that. And instead of borrowing my friend's book,
Right.
So, and I was just a kid. Like I was like, Mom, I need $50 or something ridiculous because it was pretty expensive to get a book like that printed.
Yeah.
That was like more like $100 today.
Right.
And when that came out. And so, yeah, it was like really important to me. And it made a huge influence on me. The novels, also things like Blade Runner. And I had a huge love for like Ghost in the Shell. I had discovered Akira around that age. Man, it was just like there was just a torrent of cyberpunk that I absorbed before I turned 18. So this was my love letter to that, as well as the weird ones where they mixed in fantasy. That was the thing that really brought me in to Shadowrun, was that, oh, we've got all these weird things too, like spellcasters and artifacts, but we've also got made like head computers and like AI that'll destroy us and stuff.
Right. Yeah,
I think that's
what I like about Shadowrun is the mix. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I always consider it like baby's first cyberpunk in a way. Like if the most popular role-playing game in the world really is D&D and everybody kind of cuts their teeth on D&D, or many people do, it's kind of like, all right, how about we play something a little sci-fi, right? And then you kind of like the training wheels are Shadowrun, where you could still have goblins and orc, but you are definitely in a different genre. Yeah,
it's hard not to say it's D&D at times with computers and stuff and guns.
Yeah,
it's hard not to do that. Like at first, that's how I related it, and then I realized it was actually a bit more. It's a little bit underselling what it is, because it is a heist game at its root, at its core. Yeah. And so
I agree, and actually, I feel like Blades in the Dark is better at heist stuff than D&D is. So that's another, and honestly, even better at it than Shadowrun is. So.
Yeah. So the ways that the other things that I'm trying to emulate here, right, is also like there's some recent works. The character Takeshi Kovacs is pretty big in my head. I'm trying to remember the novel now. But they turn into a series on Netflix too, and that actually will bring a lot of people in too if they relate to that show. I'm gonna pull it up. It's in my text. Let's see here, Touchstones. Yeah. So. Sorry for the delay here, but
oh, no worries.
Maybe I didn't. Oh, Altered Carbon by John Lennox.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That. It's also Dredd, right? Judge Dredd and Dredd the movie, and like Minority Report. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of stuff, like where there's heavy conspiracy. That's the other thing that made me go, man, this is not going away. Cyberpunk's here for good. There's all these movies coming out. Oh, Elysium, right?
Yeah.
That movie. I was like, what would that be like with mages and stuff, and like orcs?
And of course, you can't forget Bright, Netflix original Bright, which didn't offend anybody.
It went over so well.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I guess it just lends itself. Yeah. If you're talking about, if you think of it as a heist game, the Johnny Mnemonic, the Neuromancer, the, Cyberpunk, get the data and get out, then it makes sense for Blades in the Dark for the bones of the system compared to.
Yeah. If I had to rank them, it's Neuromancer, then it's like Akira and Ghost in the Shell. It's like those.
Yeah.
Those three are the main core of this game. And then you get the other stuff on top if you want it. It's all optional, but it's definitely there. All the stuff you want for like weird fantasy races, clones, cyborgs, all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kitchen sink. Like I was like, I want everything, because that's the game that made me so like my mind just went, it was a game with everything.
That's neat. Yeah, we've said several times on the podcast that like Cyberpunk is now, like it's weird that so much of the things that we considered futuristic 10 to 30 years ago are just commonplace now. But still, the idea of the near future is, I think, ever present. We're always going to think that we're just a few days away from some dystopian, horrible version, Black Mirror version of our future. So yeah, fun place to game, I think.
Right.
Good way
to want to live there.
Yeah, you don't want to you don't want to live there, but you don't mind visiting and gaining some coping skills by role playing in it.
Yeah, this is actually a portion of the process, right, where you're talking about these things that you like and what you don't like. That I think is really important to the game. I'm not sure if you guys did this, but there's like a setting the stage thing where you're like, what's the timeline here? What year is it? You know what I mean? Like, are we talking about a fantasy 2020? Because we're already past that, right? Or are we talking about actually 50 years in the future and we're going to think about that?
Yeah, I don't think we were that specific. I honestly, we did a lot of making it up as we went along. So I think that was
sure. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine too. So one of the things that I do like to do though is think about like why are we setting this on Earth, right? Why is it a fantasy Earth, right? Why couldn't we do Mars? The reason I think why I didn't really build in a Mars thing, even though it seems perfectly fine for a game of this, it would be great. You'd have to do your own work on it, because I wanted to support the core experience, which I think is this fantasy Earth. And we're saying something like, this could be Earth one day, or us. This could be us. Like, don't let it happen. Right. Don't let it happen. Let's indulge that fantasy though, and set aside but set aside the real world, but also remind ourselves of the real world. Right.
Right. When the more fantasy you work into something like this, the more detached it becomes to what you're trying to say, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like science fiction in many ways holds up a mirror, uses one little allegory or what have you, and we can explore something that may be broken or interesting about our world. But then you also have kobolds everywhere, and that makes it a little bit more out of place. And once you get to the point where like this is a futuristic Greyhawk or whatever, or Pern or whatever, I mean, like, okay, that could be interesting. It could certainly be. I mean, it worked for Eberron. You know, there's an idea of a futuristic fantasy setting could be kind of fun, but you want to ground it on some level so that you can say something, or more easily say something. So I think actually one of the reasons why we didn't have that zero session setting the stage with Brendan is so much of this podcast. I know only like 3/4 of us are of a certain age, but like we wanted that nostalgia of playing Shadowrun, but in a game that felt better. So like we wanted it to be as much core experience as possible, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I love the fiction of all of the Shadowrun stuff, and then it was like I want something that'll take me there, and I can tell a story there, and the players can be there, and they can tell stories there, and it just be like our own little TV show, you know, where we're not like going, oh. Right, I'm tapping right here like on a calculator. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just all right. Roll 15 D12 plus, 36. Now subtract and carry the one. There was a lot of complexity that I felt I was getting from traditional cyberpunk role playing games that I tried to hack and add fantasy into, as well as the core, of this Shadowrun experience. It was like both of those were kind of getting in my way. And also, it was like I felt like I had the skills to make this game. And also, there was this really interesting experience in my life that not many people will be really aware of, because like I started out, I was like this wonder student. Like I'm like a straight A student while I'm learning all this stuff. I'm a reader. I'm doing building computers for my neighbors before I'm 18. I'm installing all of their operating systems. I'm troubleshooting their games that don't work. I'm becoming that, and I'm 15 or 16, and I'm about to finish school. My mom moves me away, and then she moves me to another state when I'm like right about to finish school. So I'm like, well, damn that, I'm gonna go back to school somewhere else. And so now I'm 18. And I'm actually in college because I did all this. I quit school and all this. And I'm like, I'm trying to get away from the fam and stuff. Like, I'm like, this is messing me up. And then I end up getting arrested for crimes with my friend, me and my like childhood friend. And like, I guess he was planning to rob this place, man. I don't know. And I got arrested because I was with the guy. I was just with the guy. And so now I go to prison. So I get out, and I'm like, I'm trying to play role-playing games with people in prison. And I realize I've got all these skills. I can do something with this. You know what I mean? And I'm just, it dawned on me like 10 years later that I should write this game. I was like, I'm the one who has to write this game.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've got the experience to talk about it and try to impart that to a fictional way. But I've also got the like professional mind enough to actually finish it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not just a loose cannon that's like it has this experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was definitely like, it was like an aha moment when I saw Blades in the Dark, and I went, oh, I'm in love with this. And this is the game I want. Really. I want entanglements between missions.
Right.
That make things that interesting and complicated. Like you might get sent to prison by accident, because that can actually happen. Right? You didn't even plan for it, but yeah, your life can just change in an instant, especially when you're like involved with criminals or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which I kind of was, and I was a little naive, but yeah. I could have probably, if I wasn't, whatever, if things were different,
right.
I wouldn't have gone. But now I can talk about all this stuff and impart that through a text that I think people can have fun with this and maybe stay out of that experience, right? If I had this game when I was a kid, it might have saved my life, I might have never wrote this game though.
Right.
So it would have been different. My life wouldn't have been the same.
And
right?
then you
My
get
life
into
wouldn't
a
have been the same.
causality problem, and everything starts falling
Yeah,
apart.
because now, don't time travel it. But you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I want to still exist as I am.
The chief lesson of this is do not time travel and impact the present or the future. Yeah, that's intense.
I think the interesting thing about Shadowrun is that at its core, it is a criminal heist kind of situation, and I think that's something that, you know, if you're approaching it as just a straight adventure game, it's not going to be as good as if you're looking at it from that perspective. So
yeah, the entanglements and the consequences, and actually and there's a little bit of this in Bulldogs too, which we played back in the day, but the kind of hopelessness, the hamster wheel, right? Everything I do to try to get myself out of this life gets me back into this life worse, you know? And there's something cathartic, I guess, of playing characters in that world, because there's a shadow of it in our world, even if you had a blessed existence and didn't have any prison time, right? You just, every day you go to work, every day you get a little bit more of that debt chipped away, and you're back at it again the next day. So, like, I get it.
Well, if you get caught, you're screwed in this game. And so that's built into the system, that you trauma out or you just end up being like ruined for crime. Because my experience is that, like, I couldn't be a criminal now. I'm coded, man. Like, they got my DNA and stuff. There's no way I can get away with the thing. I'm just like, I got to be legit, you know?
Right.
Like, there's no like, oh, I might join the criminal life. Not for me. Because hell no. Like, I don't care about that. Like, but at the same time, I'm not going to go pull any heists. And I think that it should be like that for the runners, especially when it's dystopian cyber future.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're screwed. Like, they're going to have your evidence everywhere. They're going to read your face the moment you walk outside or walk through a judge door or go into the wrong government building, just pass the wrong cop. You know what I mean? So that's all the stuff you're going to play with on the table in this game, is the stuff that I imagine about the future for these criminals that get caught. It's going to be all that stuff. And the GM can pull on that, or they can make it just like about fun stuff. Like your friend doesn't like you anymore and like threw popcorn at you for interrupting their movie with your heist. When you barge in the door, you know, and you got the criminals in your arm, you're like, just be quiet while we hang out at my friends for a second, you know, like, it's like, oh no, you've ruined that relationship. Now it's a show of friends, you know. I don't know.
Oh man.
Yeah, you can have all that, and you can play it like you're talking about, and you can play it other ways, right? There's a couple ways to win in this game.
Yeah.
Right? You don't just win by like heisting yourself all the way to the top. You can also win by like accomplishing your personal goals, whatever those might be. So there's a lot of support for that, so you can win that way. And then there's
I don't think Polly's going to end up heisting their way to the top.
Yeah, I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
I think Polly's going to end up being a cult leader. So yeah.
So when you hit that next block of money, you actually get special items, right? So these 2 new special items could allow you to pick like an entourage that would like expand your cult, or you could actually get cult item, some kind of special artifact to lead them, or something cool to like show them the way, like a Mother Mycelium statue or something that does something cool. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do love the fact that like a character like Polly is living a life of crime without being aware of it, right? Not at all really knowing that they're doing anything wrong. And sort of like, it's just what they're doing to get to that point where they could realize their best self. There's a lot of different ways to play the game.
I'm interested to know what Punk Bunny's after. Probably money, right?
Yeah, money and prestige to start, but I think there might be something deeper. I'll have to figure that out.
Ooh, neat.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of web can be weaved with a crew that runs with their fixer.
Right.
You know, like the fixer's there to try to make sure things don't go south, or are they actually there to like, look, I'm part of this now.
Right.
So,
yeah, like why does Punk Bunny join us on this particular mission? It's almost as if she thinks there's something like there maybe that's what you're looking for with Mongoose, right? You're looking for the thing that you're really looking for. Like you could give a damn about this mission, but really this is something else. You got ulterior motives.
Well, and
which can be positive or negative.
Punk Bunny's description is a data miner, so I think it's definitely data related.
Everyone's ring passwords.
Yeah.
Get every camera in the city.
Yeah. That'd be pretty awesome, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure Punk Bunny has some web of NFTs and other such linked materials that provide data as well.
Yes.
So you could kind of expand our mind, or the AI is working on that at home for her.
Yeah.
Every frame of the original Police Academy Citizens on Patrol movie has become an NFT worth millions. Somehow no other NFT made it. Just that one.
Just that
one. Yeah.
Just that one collection. Interesting.
Cool.
We've been on for about a half hour. I have a question for Mark that's unrelated to the game you wrote. What are you playing now? Like, what do you do? What do you play for fun? At least right now, these days.
Oh, that's a good question. So, as I was alluding to with Brandon before, I'm actually playing some D&D 5th edition.
Okay.
That game is about complete and is going to start up with a new potential game. I think I've talked him into runners because 2 out of the 3 are into it already.
Neat. Very cool.
Yeah. So I think I've talked them into runners. They're already doing heisty. I'm a player in this previous game, so there was a GM that was doing Waterdeep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did Waterdeep, and I think it's the one it was like related to the Dragon Horde. I'm not sure, Horde of the Dragon Queen, but it's not quite that one. It's the other one that's not Horde of the Dragon Queen. Because I deliberately blocked it out of my mind. I didn't want to go look it up like I normally do.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear about something cool,
It all just sort of becomes like vaguely familiar Fantacrap now. Like, and I say this with love. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar, but I'm not going to place any of it. The only thing I remember distinctly is the lasagna golem. For some reason, the lasagna golem in some free adventure Wizard of the Coast had. I can maybe even stat it out. It was a golem made of lasagna.
I missed it.
We've lost Brennan.
Putting it. I know. I saw that. I'm trying to cover. So lasagna golem. Lasagna love. No, that's not it.
I could go into lasagna. There, this was in. This was when the Open Gaming license came out, but it was an official Wizards of the Coast thing. It was this cute little adventure. I think it was a low-level adventure because I think I ran it 100 times for people. And you like there was a wizard who just focused on pastry arts, and in their basement or something in their tower / kitchen was a golem made out of lasagna.
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was absolutely great. Brennan had to leave for a moment so that he wouldn't get spoilers because he's playing the lasagna golem game later on this week.
I was literally taking lasagna out of the oven. That's what I was doing.
Wow.
Perfect. Wow. Well, that segues nicely into maybe you could infect the lasagna noodles that the lasagna sorcerer is using, and that would totally make the fight in your favor.
Yeah, you could. There's lots of. They're trying to make you think outside the box. I think at that point it was very much just a by the books adventure.
No, psilocybin lasagna sounds amazing to me now, though. Like the lasagna golem of psilocybin is just like, why not?
I think it works. I'm still so upset that my mushroom risotto in the middle of the afternoon for a birthday party was rejected by one person. It was like, no, I'm not gonna eat this. What is this?
That's That was Brennan's doing, I believe, right?
Yeah, he had to come up with why did this fail? Well, actually, why would this succeed?
Right.
Why would anybody offer? Why would anyone want the mushroom risotto for a birthday party?
No, I bought it a little bit because I thought about when my friend brought me a mushroom risotto, and I actually did eat it in the middle of the day.
I think you can. I mean, it's perfectly reasonable, but you know,
they didn't bring it to me like out of nowhere, though. I was at their house already, but you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can't wait to find out more about what's going to happen with our characters in this game. And yeah, it's interesting. Of the 3 core player characters, putting Punk Bunny aside,
Right.
I think Mongoose is the only one who feels like a career runner.
Career
you
criminal.
know? Yeah.
A real runner.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. The rest of us are just sort of
for the
coming
ride.
along, or by necessity in the case of Jackie. But yeah, it's interesting. Even with 3 characters, you could play it in a myriad of different ways.
I'm interested. What is Jackie's background? Do you remember what that was?
Jackie was an orphan.
Oh, right, orphan.
Who was raised at that orphanage, but has had this transformation sort of curse, so that they wake up every day looking different. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's something you've been playing around with a lot. This like kind of custom interpretation of that, which I really like. Yeah, they could be something different every day, and they can also control it at times with effort.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. The fact that they're like this tiny orc right now is just blowing my mind. I keep like, I want someone to be like, "What are you doing with that orc child?" or something, you know, next time. Like, save the boy, save the child, you know. Little do they know, you know.
Right.
That's one who was like, "Let's go in there, and I'm gonna be a devious little kid," you know, who's gonna beat stuff up. So we'll give him a chance to kind of shine on screen with that, I think, by having some kind of a, oops, you know, this happened, and then also I think, you know, I was thinking about this ritual. Right, you got the double 6, so it's probably going to be shorter than it normally would be, but it's still like going to take some time, right? Like, I'm imagining in my head, like, we could maybe draw that out a little bit, right, to make it drama.
Sure,
that would be fun, right?
Get some of
like
those
you're still
folks coming back.
Yeah, you don't have to prance across the field on camera to get it to work, but you know what I mean? You still got to kind of like do the hand motions for a while and look at the moon and say your whisperings and do all that magic stuff for a little bit.
Yeah, and it also like part of the effect is to chill everyone out and what have you, and make it a day glow black, like a black velvet black light poster. So if that's actually happening throughout the entire compound because it was so successful, I would not complain. Or try to bottle it up. And this is it, man. This is get your bongs and enjoy.
Yeah, the blue ebb of the lights starts to come from nowhere out of the ground and like pulsing from the rods that are like built there, and it's like, ooh, I want to kind of go to that neon spot.
A very chill rave.
Right. Yeah, good trips only, right?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's part of the fun of this character, is trying to avoid the tropes of mushrooms in fantasy games, where it's like everything is dark and evil and it's all decomposition and it's all, or you know, non-consensual psychotropics. No, none of that. Some of this is just about like, hey, we're all connected. This is a circle of life. This is more Simba talking to you know, like than or Mufasa talking to Simba than it is than some crazy stoned acid hippie. He just likes the aesthetic, though.
Well, microdosing is a thing too. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and actually, there's new research being done there that I'm right on the cutting edge of, that I thought about incorporating into the game a little bit, where you could expand your mind. You know, I think there's lots of ways that players will imagine to do this, and I love that you chose this one. You know, it's like a big focus of your playbook now too, because you've chosen the mage and made that your what do you call it? Your tradition. That's your tradition. You know what I mean? It's like you believe in that, so that works.
Right.
And that was the other thing I loved about Magic in this this kind of kitchen sink setting. You know what I mean? You could kind of bring in lots of real world stuff and also your take on that.
Right. Yeah, that's always fun. As opposed to looking through like a spell list or something.
Well, it's probably really good. This is really good to talk for Brennan to be listening to, right? To figure out what you want out of your budding cult.
Yes. Yeah, because we can aim some stuff that way as we go forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not get everyone stoned. It's get them all enlightened or something, right? It's like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this came from watching some documentary about fungi the day before we played the game. I was like, yeah, that's my thing. I like that.
Nice.
That's great.
Should we do some wrap up and social media handles and stuff? What people can expect for the next couple sessions?
Well, I think we're gonna have Mark back next week, so we'll be wrapping up probably this run, right?
I'm thinking so. I think it would be nice to wrap the run up, but also have a little bit of time to do some downtime so I can get into that, and then I can just pass the boat back to you, Brennan.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Unless it's like everyone's just like, oh my gosh, fire Brennan. But then I'd say, no, make me a player.
It's nice to play your own game instead of run it. That is nice.
Yeah.
No. I think you guys would do fine anyway, even if I never came on, you know. But I think it's cool that we'll get these couple little shots in, and then we can decide what we're doing after that. If we still, I'm gonna follow you at least, you know. I keep following you, so.
All right, awesome.
I'll keep telling people about you. Hopefully, others will do the same.
Right.
Yes.
Hint. And, yeah, if they're liking this kind of stuff, they definitely should watch it more. I think your role playing style is good too, right? Your actual play stuff.
Thank you.
That's cool too.
Yeah, we try.
It's kind of like fast and loose, and I like that.
Yeah.
Our actual play is extremely actual play. Yeah.
Right.
including last minute cancellations of all kinds. Right. You don't get more actual play than this.
Yeah, true.
Actual no play. Yes. And Brendan, you of course are running thousands of games throughout the week.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, you want to talk about that? I didn't know
I play
about
the One Ring game, the J.R.R. Tolkien setting, and I do. We have a board game night now, so
cool.
I'm enjoying
that. I like that.
Okay, I did know about One Ring. I didn't know about the rest of the stuff you're doing. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we got lots of stuff coming up for the next few weeks on this show in particular. You could catch up on Non-Productive.com /DNI crew. We were off Spotify for a few days, and I was like, should I even bother putting us back on? Is this a protest? Should I make this into a protest? And then they re-indexed us, and I'm like, all right, fine, whatever.
All right, fine.
I'm still debating it heavily, but yeah, everything else is working a-okay. I have one thing to say. We do have some bonus content today from the SNL nerds. That is the worst. It's two not football people talking about a football movie the day after the Super Bowl. And I'm like, why did you even bother doing this? Like, it's an SNL movie, The Long and Short. I'm like, all right, fine. It's enjoyable. I think people will like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next week, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to find a way to talk to y'all, each of you, a little bit in between. But yes, until next week for the viewers. Of this show.
All right. Well, we're signing off for now. Thank you all for watching. And yeah, catch up on the podcast. We'll be back next week with actual show, actual play. Hooray!